What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Coach Joe Strong, here with another powerful episode of the Business of Strength podcast, where you hear the tips, tools, and interviews to turn your passion for strength into a profitable business you will absolutely love. I'm here with my bro and fellow Spartan, Zach Even-Esh, Mr. Underground Strength Con himself. Came all the way up from the underground to hang out for the day and spend some time here at Varsity House so we could commiserate on all things industry, training, food, raising kids, getting blasted by paintball. We could talk about Zach came up for a birthday surprise party last weekend, and him and a bunch of my friends took pleasure in crushing me with paintballs. We all got a little crushed, so that was a ton of fun. So, Zach, always a pleasure to have you up here. You're my dude. And, I know my son's going to be here in a little bit, so he's got high expectations. If he finds out that you're here and we didn't get to hang a little bit, he's going to be mad at me.
Yeah, he gets very upset.
We'll keep this one concise and not let it ramble into the abyss of that usually winds up when me and you are yapping about shit.
That's right.
Like the 3-hour car ride from Charlotte Airport to Summer Strong.
Nothing better.
Oh my God, that was the best. So over the last, obviously, for all the headache and greatness in a business.
Yes.
The blessing and curse of all small businesses is in leadership and the people you have. It really is, the problem and the solution is always leadership and the people, the who, and how you lead them, right? And so, when I talk to a lot of gym owners, most gym owners are either on one side of the fence or the other, right? The one side is employees are a pain in the ass. I hate employee development. They're always taking. They're always asking. They cost so much money. It's my biggest expense.
Yes.
And the other side, employees are how we grow. It's how we've scaled.
We've got a great team. We are winning together.
It's our biggest asset. The right who can transform our business forever.
Yes.
Right, and stuff like that. And I get, and look, and even us, even guys that are as seasoned as us, I guess, like a lot of times, like even I have days where I start to teeter over the other side a little bit and start getting frustrated and things like that. But I think what helps, or what's helped us at least, is some of the things that we've talked about over the last few months, which is, anchored non-negotiables. You got to have standards, right? You got to have a standard, and the standards become your culture, right? The culture becomes the way of doing things each and every day. You have to have standardized meetings. Meetings anchor the standards.
That has been huge for me.
By anchoring meetings, you get to re-anchor and reiterate the standards consistently.
Yes.
Right? And it also is a jumping point for conversations, issues, positive and negative, right? So if now I have a place where I'm basically tasked to bring complaints, solutions, ideas to the table, maybe it's every week, every other week, whatever the meeting pulse is for your business, but there's a place for that, not just a random conversation in the middle of a workout.
Correct. No good.
Where you're in a sense like blindsided by a customer service issue, a thing like that. And that used to happen all the time. We literally, I can remember back in the day, like literally, because we never left the gym floor, we would just solve all the problems and basically have our meetings in between sessions, like on
or
the gym
in
floor.
Between sets. Hey, we're training together, but we'll talk about this.
Yeah.
And that's really not fair for anybody, because if you're a coach, it's pretty likely that training means a lot to you.
Yep. And
you need your own time to do stuff. And so everybody has that something that's their own thing. And so for coaches, usually they love training. And for us, we love training. And actually, I actually said that because I know my coaches, they might want to bring something up while they're training. And I said, hey, out of respect for you guys and your training, let's not talk about any membership or member questions, concerns. Let's do it during a meeting. So don't feel like you got to bring anything up to me while we're training. Like, let that training be your time.
Be present with
yes.
people are paying for coaching, but what they're really paying for, nobody comes to Zach or Joe and says, "Hey, I want to pay for conjugate methodology. I want to pay for
say this all the time.
racks, or I want to pay for the fact that you guys got this big, beautiful
They don't
turf
know.
extra." They don't care. They're paying for presence.
Yes.
They're paying for attention.
And how they feel. Or how you make them feel.
How they perceive it. I'm sure if I went outside after our 4 or 5 o'clock sessions for our junior athletes and high school athletes, the first question in most cars, the second they
This is important, what you're going to say.
Was it fun? Did you have a good time?
That's it.
How was the coach? Was he nice to you?
Those 2 questions right there. Just like you have a younger son, when you take him to his sport
practice.
practice.
Have a great time at camp today, pal?
Yes.
Have a fun time?
Hey, did he show you the Derek Jeter grip on the bat?
Exactly.
Nobody asks that. And so we, especially when you're younger, you're tied up in, I use the conjugate method, I use this, which is, I used to have to explain to coaches, especially if they would go through my seminars, I'd say a big mistake you guys do is a parent comes to you to train their son or daughter, and they use the common phrase, speed and agility. And what do you say? Well, you cannot get fast until they get strong, and your son or your daughter needs to get stronger.
Yeah.
They don't know that, but you're denying this intuition that they have. They don't understand the lingo we use, but you're telling them you're wrong. We're going to put a bar on your daughter's back, and this is how we're going to do it. So we always say, yes, we'll do that. We speak their language, and that's the other thing is you have to
sell them what they want, give them what they need.
Exactly.
Well,
you got to be a great person to be around.
Sell them what they want, educate them on what they need.
Oh, beautiful.
Because nobody knows. No mom or dad knows. I was talking, obviously, everybody in town and all the sports that Antonio plays for knows that I own the gym.
Right.
So a lot of people will come up to me and ask me questions.
Yes.
And a few of the parents have their kids here training, right?
That's good.
And they're like, and everybody's like, oh, they do sports specific, right? Is it, what do you have?
There's no such thing as sports specific.
Right.
Yes, we do.
Yes, exactly. Do you have something specific for soccer? Absolutely.
That's right. For your 7-year-old, we got you.
Yeah, we got you, right?
We got you.
Yes.
We're good. Yeah,
he's
and
gonna
so
run, jump, sprint, do push-ups, pull-ups.
We
squats,
don't
and
argue.
lunges.
We don't argue with that because we understand that's their level of knowledge, and then you just bring them into your world.
So, one of the things, and we're talking about employees here. So, one of my frustrations in talking and consulting with a lot of gym owners is, the idea that regardless of how much training education that they have, that they're going to come into your facility and integrate and be a great employee. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot more that goes on in becoming a great employee than just being a really good strength coach or trainer, right?
Correct.
And the X's and O's side
Big
of it.
time.
Like that's definitely a box you want to check.
Yes.
And you don't want to take that lightly. Like I believe wholeheartedly that everybody should strive to be as good at their craft as humanly possible.
Yes,
right?
agreed.
And at a point, if you really love it like we do, to a point of obsession. Like you want to be really, really good.
Yes.
And I'm not taking that ever away. I would never denounce anybody who's like in the weeds, reading training books all the time, going to workshops. However, when you work in a small business that isn't directly tied to just the training, meaning like you're not our friend Rusty Witt down in Florida, right? Who's like 90% of the work is the result on the field, and the other 10% is developing his GAs, managing the load and the department of strength. But how he's being judged and graded in the eyes of the of the head coach, the alumni association who runs the business, right?
They want to see them winning.
They want to see,
and they want
see
championships.
Strong, fast, resilient athletes who are winning championships.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's it.
That's their business.
In the private sector, it's a hospitality-driven business.
Yes.
People have to know, like, and trust that you have their best interest at heart and that you're going to make them feel really good about being there each and every day.
Yes.
Because they're voting with their dollars, right? They can go anywhere they want. They get a bad experience. Zach is one of the best strength coaches I know. It doesn't matter until they have a good time. and they believe that you can help.
Yes.
They come to the underground. They got a world-class guy who's created a system, has been doing it for 30 years. If your first impression is a bad experience from another coach, maybe yells at a kid too much, or a mom comes in for her first workout, it's the middle of July, and it's 100 degrees at the underground. Maybe she's like, F this place, right?
That happened to us a
many
year
times.
ago.
In our first facility, no adults trained in our first. They'd walk in the door in August and be like, I'm not training here.
But you know what I think also changes the way we view things? Not because we are the owner of the business. As a parent, you become more of a consumer because you're now taking your kids to these experiences. And so you start thinking differently because you're experiencing it. So we're saying, you know, when I'm taking my daughter to tennis, my son to baseball, I'm asking just those questions. Did you like it? Did you have fun? And I used to look at things like, is the coach only teaching my daughter about how to hold the racket, how to play tennis, or is there any life talk in there? Does she come out happier than before? Same thing with my son. What does that coach teach my son beyond throwing the baseballs? You're talking about overcoming struggles, being committed, things that are going to transfer to his life. And so...
Me, it's body language, too. I mean, so like I started taking my son to jiu-jitsu, as you know, years and years ago. And I searched for about a year before I landed on the place we go to. And the reason is because I took martial arts my whole life. Obviously, I've been a strength coach my whole life. I can tell pretty quickly if somebody actually likes working with kids.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? And I could see by their facial expressions, their body language, that whether or not they're a kid person or not. If they're just collecting a paycheck, they're there to do a job, or if there's somebody who really gets lit up by being around little kids and helping little kids.
Can I share with you how we break that down?
Sure, I will, but hold on. And then so when I found this place, it was obvious, clear as day, that their give a shit factor. They were smiling and high-fiving. The kids had a great time. They were rolling on the floor with the kids. They did the jiu-jitsu moves with the kids.
You can't fake it.
And I was like, dude, like no 40-year-old dude is getting on the floor and wrestling around with kids like that unless he's got kids of his own, which he did. And he loves working with kids. And his first thing comes over to me is, hey, man, like I just want you to know, like, you know, my passion and the reason why I started this gym was because I was a kid who got picked on and I wanted to help other kids. And
that's his why. You could feel it.
Nothing gets me more excited than seeing a little kid come in like Antonio and giving them an opportunity to fall in love with jiu-jitsu. And I was like, oh, man, we're here.
You
we're in.
Feel,
we're in.
yes.
We're in.
He has a why.
But that was a hospitality moment, too. And it was like, it was great customer service.
Can't fake it.
He was smiling and high-fiving. So what's your process for kind of weeding some of that
It's similar to that. And my kids are older than yours. So what you're talking about is what I was able to experience by watching my kids. So when I had kids and they were old enough to get involved in sports, I would say to my coaches, hey, pretend you have a kid in this gym and you are outside of the gym, but you're looking through a window, okay, or you're looking through the doorway, and what would you want to see for your own son or daughter? Is the coach there with his arms folded, not moving around? Is the coach touching his or her phone? Or are you engaged? Are people smiling, laughing?
That's that Mike Boyle. It's like, imagine Mike Boyle was sitting outside your gym looking in the window.
Yeah.
Like, would he be proud about you know, what you were doing? I mean,
so I flipped the script on the coaches, and I tell them, I go, it's tough because none of my coaches have or had kids at that time. So I said, it's hard. But I go, from the outside looking in, what do you want your kid to experience? And sometimes some coaches are, I don't know if the proper word is, like, they're a little bit, like, they're not super outgoing. They're almost a little bit of introverts. And we had an intern a couple of years ago, and he was a little bit monotone and introverted. And I said to him at the end, I was like, man, what I should have had you do, because he moved to Manasquan for the semester, is I said, I should have had you bar back or be a waiter on Fridays and Saturdays. You would have had to speak with people. You got to put a smile on your face. You got to get told that this burger was done. Overcooked.
Or like,
hey, you brought us out bread, and the bread, you got to correct things. And I've gotten better at it as a father and a business owner. So I'll give you a concrete example of, we're in a very small town and the neighboring towns are small. So I really take into account take into consideration how word of mouth can spread in a negative manner, not just a positive manner. So if somebody has a bad experience, in my younger years, Joe, I would have been like, F that person. I was very intense. Yeah. Everything was like Rocky preparing to fight Drago. Now my mission is more build the strongest, healthiest, fittest community in the Jersey Shore. I want people happy. So one person, we didn't have the best communication. He was a little bit radio silent. I would follow up. He didn't come in. He had a bad experience. We had changed prices, and then he came back, and the price went up, and he was like pretty heated about it. I said, hey, I owned it. I said, that's my fault. I said, I totally forgot that when you signed up, it was our charter membership. We had just started training adults. I go, I'm going to refund that month's membership. I go, this next month is on the house. And I go, if you want to do a personal training session with me, I'll do it with you anytime. You let me know when you want to do it. And he wound up canceling his membership, but then months later sent a text message. Actually, he just showed up to the gym one morning, didn't even announce to us, but then he texted me afterwards. He goes, Zach, I didn't realize how much I missed it and how much I needed it. But he would never, I wanted to make sure he could never leave and say, let me tell you about the underground. Those guys screwed me. They charged me another $100. But what would the story be? Hey, I got to tell you something about the underground. I was there. He made a mistake. He refunded my money. He brought me in, did a personal training session with me. Even his wife came in. I said, hey, there's 2 weeks left in the month. Do you want your wife to come and train with you? That's on the house. Yes. Back in the day, I was a lot more rigid or regimented with, oh no, we do a one-time free trial. Now I'm very flexible and open to the different marketing methods.
I grew up in the restaurant business, and in the restaurant business, when there's a customer service issue, a bad food or a complaint or a cockroach or something.
Dessert is on the house.
That's called service recovery.
Yeah.
And it's almost always something that's trained in the restaurant business because it's a big part of the business, especially back in the day when my family had restaurants and stuff, because there was no open table, Resi, so there was no way to collect people's information or emails and reconnect with them.
Correct.
Like now, if you go to big restaurant chains, they're emailing you all the time.
And texting you.
Email and texting, right? Where like back then it was like every Friday my mom would have her specials and we had reservations on book, but like there was no way to like reach out.
It was like in a notebook.
No, it was a crapshoot every Friday. Like we hope that 50% of these reservations actually show up, and we hope we didn't order too much filet mignon and then we got to like eat it or whatever.
But you know what's interesting about those, I call it, the old school business ways? That is why they really were strong at customer care.
Yes.
That's why they created,
customers mattered.
Yeah, the baker's dozen. You buy 11 things, I'm giving you the 12th roll or donut for free. And you saying that, to show the impact of taking care of people, this restaurant doesn't even exist anymore. It was in Menlo Park Mall. It was called Champs. I mean, I'm 50 now. I may have been there 20 plus years ago. Something happened. My food was wrong or something like that. And the manager came out. I just mentioned to the waitress, hey, such and such, this was wrong or da-da-da. And he comes out, he goes, hey, I heard there was a mistake with your order. I said, yeah, don't even worry about it. Not a big deal. He goes, actually, it is a big deal. He goes, let me take care of I'm going to take care of your dessert on the house today. He removed that from the bill. Then I think he gave me a coupon. And that, I'm remembering two instances, one there and one at a small place, literally the size of somebody's, a living room in New Brunswick called Clyde's. I've been going there since I was 21. I'm in my mid-30s. I order a filet. I think it came out medium rare. I asked for a medium, and the owner comes out. I had seen that owner there since I was 21. He'd always be at the end of the bar with a cigar, drinking an old-fashioned. He said, He's like, I heard there was a mistake with your steak. I was
Back
like,
when you could smoke cigars inside.
yes, that's how long ago it was. I said, yes, don't worry about it. I've been coming here since I was 21. I go, don't worry about it. He goes, steaks on the house tonight, and next round of drinks on the house. It was a martini bar. I go, no, don't do that. I'm coming back. I always come back. I've been coming here, since I was 21. He goes, shut up. It's my place. I'll do what I want. But he said it with a laugh and a smile, and that makes me want to come back. So now
we have never, I can say this with absolute confidence, we have never screwed anybody out of one penny in 20 years of business. Yeah, if you don't want to be here,
right,
I'll refund every dollar, give you back your membership. If a client comes in complaining that I owe them 3 sessions, fine, we owe you 3 sessions.
I'll give you 6, or let me take.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then we never owe them anything. In a crowded party, if there's a big party in what's the town, Orangeburg? If there's an Orangeburg party, nobody could say a bad thing about Varsity House. They can't be in a crowded room and say, let me tell you what they did.
All they can say is, I went, it wasn't for me, but they're straight up when it comes to business. They're good people. Their customer service is great. The trainers mean well. For whatever reason, sometimes we're not the right product for some people.
Correct.
And that's fine.
That is okay.
But I don't want anybody ever saying that we weren't the right business because they didn't want to do business with us because we weren't good people. Right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the other skills that employees
this is a good
in the
question.
training world, like obviously we're talking about our gyms, but what are some of the skills that employees need other than X's and O's? Like, what are some skills?
Dan mentioned this to me. I text, the powerful thing about being in Strongest Year Project as a mastermind is if I can't talk about this stuff with anybody, it's very hard. You're like stuck with it inside. Yeah. So I had this conversation. I think Dan responded to this, but he was talking about, hey, during your meeting, Zach, I know you do the scorecard and you just talk about, you give the coaches the floor. Is there something we need to know about, something we need to do better at, something we need to prepare for? He said, you should train your coaches how to sell. He goes, we think selling is what we do because I describe myself as the chief marketing officer.
Yeah, you do 95% of all the marketing.
He said, but we're not just selling after a introductory workout or a 7-day trial or whatever, the listeners are doing. He said it's when your coaches are in front of the whiteboard or the TV monitor going over the workout and they recognize, hey, maybe the 7 a.m. time slot is not pumping, and you allow them and you give them the opportunity, you turn them into leaders, and they say, Joe, do you have any friends or family members that want to come? We've got 10 days in the rest of July. I'm giving 10 days free. The way to do it is, I believe in creating systems. What's the system? Have them text me. Here's my number. Do you have a friend? So give them kind of like a how to do it, not just leave it random. So I think teaching them and empowering them, and if they're doing really good with it, you guys have spoken about this. Yeah. You reward them. You can reward them financially.
So my expectation for a trainer to come in here is not that they're going to be like this world-class telemarketing salesperson.
Correct.
Like, I don't expect, a 22-year-old fresh out of college to be able to come in and light up our sales pipeline.
Yep.
I'm also not expecting them to go out into the community and drum up shit tons of business.
Yeah.
But my expectation is that if you're your goal is to be a really good coach. And as a coach, we don't call our coaches trainers, we call them coach mentors. Right?
Yes, I love it.
And the reason why we call them coach mentor, because coaching implies that I just tell you what to do. Mentoring means I show you, I lead you, I have to remind you. I mentor my son in strength and conditioning. I don't coach him. Coaching him means like I expect him to just do what I tell him to.
That is a great...
Mentoring means I have to teach him and break down every little...
Yes.
So, but also, as you know, being a great dad means being a great follow-up.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't just show E-Guy how to tie his shoes one time. You sat on the ground dozens of times and said, hey, man, like this. Like, we make the little rabbit ears, then we tie it around, right? And so forth. So my expectation for a coach is to be able to come in and be a good coach at mentor, and that means following up, checking in. Checking your
the check-ins.
Checking your attendance every week. Like
yes.
Let's say you were on session for 25 sessions. 6 or 7 of them were group classes, 6 or 7 of them were athlete sessions, 6 or 7 of them were small groups or privates. Run the roster check. Did everybody show up? If they didn't, send them a ping. Hey, Zach, what's up, man? Like, you normally make all 3 of your sessions.
Yes,
I've noticed over the last 2 months that you've been a little inconsistent. Do you need help finding a different time?
That's right.
Does Fridays for the summer no longer work for you? Be proactive and ahead of people, because
that's just helping people. So when we
helping.
say sales,
if an athlete showed up to your gym consistently 4 times a week for 3 months and all of a sudden started disappearing or showing
once,
up
twice a week,
and nobody knows, nobody says anything to them, subconsciously or not, they're saying, in the back of their head, they're saying, it's no big deal if I just leave. Zach doesn't care.
Right, he doesn't even, they don't even know I'm done.
I'm here.
When we say sales, I don't know if I heard it from you or Dan, but basically you're just helping people, right? Yeah, same person. You're just helping people. And so for us,
selling is helping.
Yes.
Selling is helping.
We're always, as Dan Kenny said, money is always moving from one hand and one person to the next in exchange for value. What I've looked at much better, I was not good at this, and this was really my mistake, is I was not immersed and entrenched into our community. So Monday I was at a local wrestling tournament in Manasquan. I said to the coach, hey, who's one kid on the team whose family needs financial help? I will scholar that kid for a year. Coach, do you want to set something up where once a week they come in for the remainder of the month on Wednesday? I've got an intern. I would like to help and train them. We are helping. We're not always starting. And we've had some of our coaches do some stuff off-site. And one thing I mentioned to my coaches in the beginning is we have to have some fluidity. Like right now, it's the year 2026. The way we are communicating with people is one way. But in this world, you must be ready for change. I said that to my daughter going to college. I go, your coach might leave. The whole way that tennis and sports in general works might change. Yeah. You must be accepting of change. And so a great coach has to be ready to be fluid, and also
you got to coach and mentor people.
I love the mentorship. I love that.
Mentoring is part of the job. You have to, and mentoring most of the time means people need constant gentle pressure, as our friend Joe Hashi likes to say. They need a constant pat on the ass and moving forward. Or Dan likes to call it, you got to keep people's flywheel spinning. If you let it stop, it's so hard to get it going.
Momentum.
Just think about like starting and stopping on a bike. When we're rolling, pedaling's easy. But every time you got to stop at a stoplight, you got to get it going again, right?
True.
And think about how hard fitness is for most people in general, right? Or even for athletes. Even though there's a means to an end with athletes, how hard it is for parents as a family to finally carve out the time, make the commitment, and show up and do it, right? Keeping the flywheel going for a coach means, like I said, paying attention to attendance, understanding the highlight moments, 50 check-ins, 100 workouts. This kid went all year, did all 4 blocks. He's our summer warrior. So we call it a summer stud award, right? All those little hospitality moments to make
summer stud. I love it.
To make sure that they feel excited about their time here. And then the other side of that, on the actual sales side, like again, it's a reasonable expectation of ours that we teach our staff how to listen to key moments so that they can get referrals and upgrades, reactivations, things like that. If somebody came and trained at the gym and trained in your, let's say Stephanie runs a lot of our like classes here at HQ, and they stop coming for whatever reason, it's almost always like life happens. Within a reasonable amount of training, and we'll go through it with them and we'll train them how to listen and cue in on things. But like, I'm gonna have Steph call the members who came to her class and I'm not calling them. I'm not having Big Mike call them because she was the coach, and I want it to be real.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey Steph, reasonably, I want you to call these 10 people who used to come to class in the morning with you. They're not here anymore, but like, let's do some research. Go back in their file. Re-familiarize yourself with who they are and what they were here for.
Yes.
And reach out to them and say, hey, we miss you. And it's because it's
you know what that is in one word?
Yeah.
It means you care.
It means you give a shit.
I'm checking in on you to
Zach,
see.
You
what's
and Danielle
going on.
were coming 4 days a week.
Yes.
I know life happened. You got busy with the kids. You were a little, you pulled out. We just had a guy recently pull out because he had a panic attack, like you did when your daughter had to go to college. Had to write that first $35,000 check.
Oh my
and was
God.
like, I'm out of here, right?
Yeah, that changes things.
Right. I mean, he literally had a panic attack. He came back like a month later and was like, "Guys, I'm sorry. I just had like a meltdown." He's like, "I saw these bills going out."
That's
he's
another
like,
life happens
between
moment.
moving in, allowance. He's like, his daughter's an athlete like yours. He's like, she has no time to work. She's like, so I'm paying for everything.
That's right.
And he's like, and me and my wife came out the gate hard. Like we went to every practice, every game. It's like we're spending thousands on travel. He's like,
And hotels. Yes.
So I get it, people. So, but my point is that if somebody comes up to a coach and they say, Zach, that was the best fucking workout I ever had, right? And you just say thank you. To me, that you didn't do your job.
Okay, let's talk about what to do in that moment.
The real moment is, that's amazing. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Our goal is best hour of our day. It's all over the gym here,
Yes.
right? Have you had a chance to, leave that in a review?
I was just going to say,
Right?
that made me think.
Would you mind doing a quick little testimonial?
Yes.
Because that testimonial and what you just said gets the next 5 people off their butt who need fitness in their lives. And it's not, and again, it's not just the sale, or that means so much to us. Hey, they'll go home, we'll write them a note, and then send them a freebie for an upgrade the following week. Hey, next week we're going to gift you an extra session. Thanks so much for the kind
Or you were
words.
talking about listening to them, Joe.
Yeah.
We just trained a family, husband, wife, daughter. The daughter doesn't do the athlete program. She just trains with the adults. Midway through, she's talking about going to the local coffee shop. So I'm hearing that twice, 3 times. What do you think I did when I left? I went to that coffee shop and bought them a $50 gift card. That's a lot. By the way, when you care, you start getting people on your side. So this same father, he came to our Lift Strong fundraiser that we did in the winter with another dad. This is their first year here. They're like, Zach, holy shit, we didn't know this is such a big thing. They're like, next year when you do this, me and you mentioned the other guy's name, we want to help. We'll get a grill outside. We'll grill burgers for you. And I never had that. And the reason why, Joe, is because all I cared about was who's winning and losing. Yes. And then as a father, I got to a place where, and as somebody in my mid and late 40s, now 50, I wanted to train adults. I knew that this was a life thing.
It's way more important for families with kids, right? And I think, again, it goes for everybody. But once you have kids, like you said, your lens changes.
Correct.
A lot. The interactions and the types of humans I surround my son with are way more important to me than the actual skill set. I send my son to a guy, Coach John, who's an old school like baseball guru in the area.
Yes.
There's lots of guys who have way more like accolades, right, in terms of like their sports.
Yeah, I played pro baseball,
stuff, right? They have bigger facilities, they have nicer spaces. I send my son to Coach John because of Coach John, because of because I see his want to see him succeed. I see his excitement working with little kids.
Yes.
I see how he raised his boys and he valued their time here with us. So, I know that he has firsthand experience at Varsity House with his kids, and I know there's a high level of quid pro quo there. He wants Antonio to have a great experience training with him because he feels like his time was
He's a mentor.
Yeah.
He is a mentor.
And here's a real-time stat. So I'm reading off something right now. So we had our quarterly town hall today, right? And this is Dan does a quarterly report for the team every quarter just so they have like a written out, like kind of like, let's call it mini vision of recap of the quarter.
Love it.
And I want to read something. And this is why listening and teaching your coaches to shut up, listen, and acknowledge special moments can get you, okay? So this is just for the quarter. This is just quarter 2. So this is 3 months worth. All 3 gyms, across all 3 locations, we generated 103 referrals in a quarter, right? Reactivations and upgrades, including 31 internal upgrades alone in our headquarters at Orangeburg, right? Those plays help cover the ground, lower adult membership total, ground of lower adult attrition totals in all three gyms and keep moving the change on revenue despite digital marketing, high amounts of spend, and the offensive playbook that we're running, right? The defense, meaning referrals, reactivations, upgrades, accounted for 57% of all revenue in quarter two.
57%. You guys are locked in on the math. That's very impressive.
That's the power of seeing and seizing these special moments. When somebody comes to you and tells you that this gym changed their lives, you have an obligation, as Pat Rigsby says, to sell them something else. And I don't mean in a sleazy way. And it could be a gift. It could be a free upgrade. It could be, hey, I want you to bring your wife for free next month.
Correct.
You've talked about bringing your wife here for the last year. Next month, if she wants to come, it's on us.
Yes.
Why would you do? Hey, you've referred 3 clients. You've been a huge advocate. You've said nothing but nice things. And every single time I talk to you, you take the time to tell me how special this place is. It's my chance to return the favor. Thank you so much.
That's how you win when you are not super regimented with, I used to do this. Our only option was a one-time trial. And then I just started thinking, what if I was the consumer and I said, listen, my son or my daughter is really nervous. Do you do a few classes? I go, normally we do 1, but if you need a week, say the word. My neighbor has been talking to me for years about his daughter and this. Do you have classes with all girls? Now he's got his son, and he's like, do you do a few classes? I go, Jim, you're my neighbor. Your son can train all month. I'll take care of it. And then after that, you let me know if you want to sign up, and I'll give you a little neighbor discount, because I know that if I don't expect a discount. If my neighbor has something, I'm of the believer of when my friend or family does something, I'm buying it. But I do like to take care of people, and I think that is very much missing.
Yes.
So
that's hospitality training.
Joe, I think in a nutshell, your coach has to care about people.
Yes. But you have to teach them, though.
You certainly do.
Again, nobody walks into varsity. Not one coach has ever walked in here with real hospitality or sales training. Nobody's gone through the Ritz-Carlton, service award program. Nobody's done, not a lot of people have worked in high-level restaurants where they have their pre-meal workshops every day before, they go over specials, hospitality, things like that. By the way,
you could go to a great restaurant, but if the service is crap, you ain't ever going back, even if steak was world class. I'll share one more story, and then Coach can pick this up. I think it's important as you guys do this. We learn from outside industries. There was a butcher in town, and amazing guy. He passed away a couple of years ago. He had a very small butcher shop, and he would always come out from behind the counter and be like, hey, Zachy baby. He'd shake my hand. He had an old jukebox with Frank Sinatra playing, and anytime I would buy stuff, he was always giving me something. Hey, here's the what do you call it? Here's some of these spices. This is my special spice. And he'd have it in a little bag. Or I would buy whatever, $75, $100 worth of stuff. He'd be like, hey, take these 2 pork chops. He's like, I want you to put some balsamic and he would give. And then there would be people just hanging out, drinking coffee and eating crumb cake at this little tiny table. But you went there and you felt good. He wanted to share. And guess where he had to learn that from somebody. His father was a butcher.
Let's talk about, so we've kind of break things down here. So obviously we have what we call our 5-diamond hospitality framework. We've been really spending a lot of time on it this year, and it is the entire basis of our 2-day annual retreat in Park City, the Gold Standard Retreat. That's going to be September 18th and 19th, Park City, Utah. So if you're listening, you want 2 great days of hospitality training, that'll be it. But we kind of broke it down into 5, basically there's 5 levels of employee development that we believe in here for the gym. And obviously, I'll just rattle through them and then we can chat about it a little bit. But level 1 is the technician, right? Level 1, like we said, get good at your craft, be good at the X's and O's. And I don't think that ever stops. You're always going to learn and do new things. So if your goal is to be a coach, yes, you have to learn sales, marketing, operations. Maybe you want to advance to management and be a trainer manager, or maybe one day you want to, like Mike, you want to slide laterally and take over the sales role and stuff like that. But the first step in that process is just being a great coach, right? So I think a lot of young people want to kind of put the cart before the horse, and they want to get to the business side of things before they've gotten good at coaching, right? And you're going to make remember what we make our money off of here. No matter how good people want to get at sales, operations, leadership, or marketing, what we make our money off of is training. So how you can make the most impact as a young coach is coming in and being a session dog and being a great trainer.
Dude,
that people want.
I want to hammer that home, Joe. Boots on the ground. Sometimes coach yourself into exhaustion.
Why are we in such a place societally now where like coaching, like working more than 40 hours is like, it's my work-life balance, but my weekends. We don't give anybody off on weekends when they start. The first year, it's mandatory, 6 days a week. That's it. Tough shit.
Yeah.
But I don't work here. We had 2 interns quit this summer because it was too hard. Some people would be on their heels. Oh my God, are we doing the right thing? I thought I wear it as a badge of honor. Great. We got rid of 2 people who weren't going to make it anyway.
That's a negative. That's a negative on the floor because people can sense.
They were chirping, and come to find out, when the last one left, he was chirping to the rest of the team about and it's like, yo, come on, like,
battery drainer,
and they're here 25 hours a week. Like, come on,
it's nothing.
Let's be realistic.
Joe Polish calls that a battery drainer. You only want to be around battery chargers.
Yes. Level 2 is the hospitality professional. For us, that means the ability to smile. That's our SWIFT protocol. Smile, work the room,
I love that.
Success.
That is
be thankful. Like,
powerful beyond words.
And I just think of, like, go into any nice restaurant, go into your favorite hotel, the nicest hotel, and think about the concierge there. They should be the person the most excited to see you, the most enthusiastic about about earning and keeping your business.
We're crushing the restaurant talk. Go to a restaurant, get your food delivered, and nobody comes to check on you. And you're like, where's my water? I'm so thirsty. Is anybody checking on me?
How pissed off do you get when your bread comes out late or cold or whatever?
Yeah, or you're just looking around to get your water filled. That's why you mentioned it earlier. You should check in for no reason other than to check in on people.
You're a coach, mentor. It's your job. Imagine if, like, John Harbaugh, obviously I'm a Giants fan. John Harbaugh's the new coach. Has he not had a one-off meeting with every player? Has he not checking in on players? Does he not call the offensive coordinator to check in to make sure the plan's ready to go? Are they not meeting at all? Of course they're meeting every week. Like, there has to be, like, your job is checking in on people. Our job, first and foremost, before there was $1 million business, before there was all these systems, and before there was the business of strength, the number one goal was achieving other people's goals and getting people what they came here for.
The mission is the people. What do they need? And we need to.
Ari from Zingerman has a great saying.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Book, right, in his book, How to Give Great Service. Get it for them as fast as humanly possible, as enthusiastically as possible. He's like, the kid going to get your water at the restaurant should be smiling, high-fiving. I'll be right back, sir.
Yes.
Let me get that water for you.
And I love that that's what he does.
Yeah.
Pouring water, and he's doing market research by just talking with people.
I peruse the gym floor every single day when I come in. I have some of the best conversations and get some of the best clues about our business in the 10 minutes that I walk around smiling and high-fiving everybody.
Do you know Alan Cosgrove said this 20-plus years ago? What is everybody's favorite radio station? WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Correct.
And that's what we're here for. You tell me what you want. I'm going to create the plan and to get you there. What's in it for me?
Level 3 is our revenue contributor. That's when you start to take your hospitality, meaning we see them consistently coming in with positive energy. They're smiling and high-fiving. They're living our SWIFT protocol. Now it's a little bit more training, and they should be able to take assessments. They should be able to take reactivation calls. They should be able to follow up with leads at that point, right? And now someone like, let's say like Steph, right, who came in as a coach, she was a nutritionist, and now she's our defensive coordinator and our adult coordinator, right? Now she's directly tied to sales and money. Now her revenue is directly tied to the bottom line of sales and money because she has learned the skill.
Yes.
She progressed above and beyond great sessions, smiling and high-fiving, making people feel special, to actually being able to pick up the phone and say, hey, Zach, it's Steph from Varsity House. Where you been, man? We miss having you here. Can I get you and Danielle and the kids back in the gym anytime soon? What have you been doing? And you have to train that. So sales training is important.
It's like an old friend checking in.
But you have to, at some point, employees have to understand that if you're the best coach on the floor, but all you do is coach, there's value in being a great coach. Don't get me wrong.
Agreed.
Right? But if my marketing gets some people here, the sales team sells them and converts them, right? The defensive team is the one doing the reach outs and the keeping them here, and you have not yet found a way to tie yourself to any revenue. In a small business, that's usually the kiss of death. That usually means you're on a banana peel, because at some point your salary is everybody wants to make more money.
Yep.
So the salary can only creep as far as your skills creep, right? And if a coach comes to me and says, well, I want to make more money, how many referrals have you gotten this quarter? How many people have you reactivated? How many upgrade VIP cards?
And it could just be one thing.
And it's like,
how many people have you reactivated this month? Or how many?
Right.
We have.
What's your session capacity? Are your sessions consistently sold out in full?
If you're training adults, it could be how many of those adults brought in a friend or family member this month, so they referred somebody in, or they signed up. So learning these skills, and that allows us, if there's systems in place, Dan Sullivan said, the best way to stress yourself out as an entrepreneur is to not grow. So let's say, we're just status quo. It feels stressful. It's also a little bit boring, but if it keeps growing, then you could start thinking.
Boredom is what kills me. The lack of growth and complacency is where I start to get really antsy. Like if I got nothing to build or grow on, or a marketing campaign to build out or work on, I literally do nothing. Like I doom scroll because I get lost in the nothing.
And on the flip side, the employee, the team member can get bored and say, I'm just going to go somewhere else. And then they kind of, it has to, giving them responsibility.
The more responsibility people have, your income grows when your ability to carry responsibility grows. Right, and part of that is emotional too, right? Your ability to handle the stress of other people's.
Joe, I almost blanked on it. We were talking about kind of the stress of being a business owner.
Sure.
Basically, what happens as a business owner is you get better because you're like, the stress is going to be there, so it doesn't fluster you and shock you as it did when you were a younger entrepreneur.
No, nothing bothers me.
Just like we shared with each other a text message. I think it was Charlie Munger who said, I don't waste time playing victim. If something happens to me, it's not in my soul, it's not in my psyche to be the victim. I just move on and do more and create more. Whereas when you're younger or just newer to the game, and I've certainly felt it and still feel it,
no question.
You can get emotionally
charged
or exhausted from something happening. Now I just utilize it to my advantage and I fix it.
And I've said it to a lot of other coaches. Never make business decisions on emotion. Data is all that matters.
Data, yeah.
Data is all that matters. And every employee, this may be for another podcast, but every employee needs a couple data points that you're tracking so that you know whether or not they're being successful or not.
Yes.
Level 4 is the manager. That's when you've gone from learning how to sell, learning how to generate some revenue, to now leading through other people and managing through other people, right? And a manager might be you're the adult coordinator, you're the athlete coordinator. Someone like Tyler, who's been here a little bit less than a year, he became our director of training, and now he's heading up our internship program. Now he's managing other humans, right?
Yeah, that's exciting.
Look, it's a great learning experience for him too. And as a business owner, right, the 5th level is leadership. There's a difference between managing and leading. Manager is trains on time, making sure we do this. That's task management. That's are they showing up? Did they get their duties and responsibilities done? Leading is changing people's emotions, their culture, their mindset, and how they run their lives, right? That's a big difference.
Leading, mentorship. This is a powerful episode.
Expectations, right? That's leadership. Dan and I have to lead other people, and
Yes.
a lot of times we lead each other, right? And again, me and Dan are partners. There's been plenty of times where he had to lead me off a ledge emotionally,
Yes.
right? And I've had to lead him off a ledge emotionally, and we complement each other well. Leadership is emotional control and stability.
Dan, to me, is one of the most level-headed
Yes.
entrepreneurs I have ever met.
100%.
Yes, and that
Me and you,
yes.
I'm the emotional arm of this business for sure. Me and you have a lot of similarities.
Correct,
That way.
yeah.
We'll come at it hot and heavy sometimes.
which could be a negative.
Which can be a negative
Yeah.
because not everybody responds positively to
That's right.
that type of energy. So
You know, a basketball coach said this when my daughter was playing middle school basketball. He said, hey, if your kid didn't play as much as you thought they would or wanted them to, don't email me right away or catch me at the end of the game. Sit on it for 24 hours and then follow up with me the next day. He's like, we'll be better for it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's perfect.
it's 100% true. And I also say, like, go to the data. Like, you know, when a gym owner calls me, my marketing sucks, it's not working. Well, let's break it down. Let me see your lead acquisition
Yes.
cost. Let me see how many leads you've gotten. Let's break down your funnel, right? And I see, oh, well, you spent $1,500 on marketing this month. You closed 8 memberships, and your LTV on a membership is $4,000 per client. I said,
That's really good.
I think you did okay, right? And
Yes.
It's like, well, I really wanted to close 10. No, want to
Correct.
and data are two different things. Want to is a feeling.
Yeah.
I should, right? So the words I want, I should, I could have, those are feelings.
Knowing your numbers to me, was one of the toughest things because I was a owner-operator until
Yes.
2 years ago, 20 plus years. And so when I had to step off, I was like, oh man, I have to manage numbers. I have the scorecard every month. And so emotionally, that was very stressful to me. So who did I go to? You guys, as your friends. I said, I have to be in this group so I can, just like if an athlete wants to get better, they need a coach.
Being a good gym owner
Yes.
and business owner in general, right, as a small business owner, is 1,000,000,000% a trainable skill.
Yes.
And a lot of it comes down to surrounding yourself with other good business owners and or people who are, they don't necessarily have to have a bigger, better business than you, but they have to be the type of people who are out there swinging and trying to get better
Yes.
every day. Having a group of people to surround yourself with that have equal give a shit in the realm of personal development, skill development, and improvement is really the golden goose. in
Why
my
did
opinion.
Westside Barbell become the strongest?
Training partners? baby.
Training partners.
You're
That's
my training
it.
partner in business, right? You've become one of my closest friends. But the reality is that we confide in each other, and when I see you kicking ass, it makes me want to kick ass.
Yes,
when I
we
see
win
Devin
together.
Or TJ kicking ass, like Devin's chirping me today about signing up 100 kids in his summer camp.
Holy crap.
And I'm like, fuck, we only got 30. I'm like, we got to light up the phones, gang. What are we doing here? Like,
Yes.
and it's not because
That's
it's not
amazing.
a bad, it's just because
Right.
he's one of the guys that I hold in such high regard as a gym owner that it's like, man, if he can do it, why can't we? What's the problem here? Like,
Correct.
we got the juice.
You realize, there's levels. That's why I tell
yeah.
athletes, I go, the hard workers gravitate towards another hard worker. The lazy
Yes.
kids hang out with other lazy kids.
No question.
Get rid of the battery drainers. Get rid of them.
Look, one of the hardest decisions in business is when you have a good, not great employee, and you're wondering, and you have to make a decision as to whether or not they have progression in them, and sometimes, and I'm not saying that it's all the time, but sometimes you got to replace people. If there's somebody's getting a consistent B grade, and the overall consensus is that's the grade,
Yeah.
and you think you can go out and hire an A player, you might just have to roll the dice. And
They do
tell
it in
somebody-
sports.
right?
Yeah.
You got to outplay your contract, and if you got somebody who's just kind of playing under the level,
Rusty said he tells that to the athletes. He says an upperclassman or a fifth-year senior is getting complacent. He tells the young guys, hey, man, go take his job.
Yes.
He thinks he's got it. And
that's why we allow every employee to apply for management jobs.
Nice.
If you think you want to take
Right.
it, apply for it and come present your case.
And
Why
some
should
people
you
don't
get it?
want, they're very happy with good enough.
Yes.
They're like, hey, I don't want to make more money
But in
because
the- in the
I have
realm
to
of
wake up
business,
earlier or something.
Good enough means I'm going to hire you out. Meaning
Good enough is the death of greatness. That's my quote.
When you've hired like we have and realized what an Adam, a Mike, a Tyler, a Cat can do for your business, right? At some point, you have to evaluate everybody closely and say, look, if there's an opportunity, if this person seems like they're coasting, I might have to take a shot and bolster the bullpen a little bit, just like a professional team. You have to have the next best player on
And
staff.
I would say this, somebody who's happy being a B player, they won't be upset when you let them go.
No, most of them aren't.
Yeah, they're
Most of
like,
them
you know
aren't.
what? I didn't really want to keep. Yeah, they're totally fine.
This was getting too hard for me anyway.
Yes.
Type of deal.
I mean, and my buddy, when it came to sports, if I expressed to him I'm frustrated with athletes' effort, this guy was a wrestling coach and he became an administrator. He said, Zach, there's only one first place. We need the lazy people.
Yeah.
He's like, they can't share. Not everybody's getting the gold medal.
Yes.
He's like, that's basically like the athletic food chain.
Yes.
And in business, that is the reality. And guess what? If you don't want to be a killer, I still love you for who you are. But as somebody who's running this ship, our mission is to impact more lives. And if you can't do it, I'm okay with that. Let's just move on. Let's not try to lie about it.
I'm okay with being honest here on the Business of Strength podcast.
Yeah.
You do not have a place here at Varsity House.
Yes.
You have to be a killer.
Yes.
Education is non-negotiable. Personal development is non-negotiable. You're either going to wind up on a PIP, and which means you're probably out the door already.
Right.
Or you're going to just wind up exiting yourself because the culture is going to exit you out. Kind of like being on a great sports team. Like a lot of times, like the captains on the team
Reminded me of being at Rutgers.
It meant more on a football team when players came up to me and said, "Yo, man, like you're not pulling your weight," versus a coach just barking at you, right? The culture here of winning and expectation. And again, like we have like there's 6 or 7 employees in HQ here alone who have families, are married, and this is the sole source of income.
Yes.
Like this is not a fucking game.
When you're not honest, you're not helping
This
anybody.
is not a game. Like
Yep.
Adam has to win this game.
Correct.
To feed his 2 kids and wife. Like
Yeah.
Dan has to win this game, right? And Joey's a part-timer, but he's one of my longest tenured employees. He's got 2 kids. This is the best part-time job you're ever going to have, right? You're never
True.
going to make this type of money like sport coaching
If
part-time.
if Varsity House was near me when I was a full-time elementary, I never would have opened my own gym.
Probably not.
I would have been
Yeah.
here. I would have left school, came here, coached for 2 to 3 hours, been a
Yep.
soldier, love coaching,
Yep.
love being here, love seeing people grow. I would have been a great employee
Absolutely.
team member
and you can make $30,000 to $40,000 a year
on top of your
part-time.
full-time salary.
You're never going to make that being like the part-time football,
No.
basketball, track coach.
What are you going to do? Are you going to bartend every Friday and Saturday night and not see your family and be too wiped out?
Exactly.
So there's also that's also the benefit. But I love what we spoke about here about, if we wrapped it up, you're genuinely caring.
Yes.
And as a coach, hospitality, and as a coach, you are advancing and growing yourself just as you would expect that of the people that you are mentoring. I love that word,
Absolutely.
you're mentoring, because do we want a member here to just stay stagnant for a year? No, we're trying to get them better. So if we expect it of them, we must expect it of ourselves.
Yes, and to wrap it up for today, hospitality is marketing. Hospitality is sales.
Yes.
The greatest salespeople you're ever going to have are your members going home and saying, I cannot fucking believe my gym did that for me. I went to the gym today on my 40th birthday just to go have a workout. And they had a tiara, a ribbon, a cake, and sung me happy birthday and sent me home with a gift bag, supplements, and a free workout. Like, those are the
You
things
can't
that
fake
change
caring.
people's lives.
Yeah.
And again, look, yes, it's trainable. Yes, of course, there's some of it that we're intentionally fabricating. But when I look at what we've done, or the compound interest of doing that, it actually does really feel good. It makes me feel amazing.
Heck yeah.
When somebody comes up to me, I'm with Antonio and Adele at a pizza joint like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there just happened to be 2 clients over there, and they went out of their way to make sure that she knew that I want you to know that this gym, this man changed our lives. And that's like, shit, dude. Like, you put it in perspective. At 50, I get all emotional because it's like, fuck, man, we've actually done some pretty cool shit here. And like, at the end of the day, people getting strong and fit is cool, but going home like that and being like, yo, like,
changes
this place changed
people's
my life.
lives.
Like, this place saved my marriage. This place, like, I never felt better about myself ever after losing all that weight, and you guys helped me. Like, those are the things that matter.
Strength training changes lives. I would say, and I've said this before, but I'll say it on your podcast, the minimum effective dose is changing lives.
Yeah.
How can you change lives?
Absolutely.
It is. And also, I think we're get emotional about it, Joe, because when people say,
I give a shit.
Yeah, when people say, hey, I built this through my blood, sweat, and tears, we have.
We did it.
We've had legit bled, cried, sweated.
Oh.
And so
I've cried a lot over this business over the last 20 years. So.
Yeah, which is great.
If you liked what you heard today and you thought that what Zach and I talked about had real value for you and your business and your coaching staff, we have 2 amazing events coming up in the next calendar year. We have our annual Business of Strength Gym Business Retreat, September 18th and 19th in Park City, Utah. That's called the Gold Standard. It's going to be our 5-diamond hospitality playbook. 2 days, amazing learning, and one of the best ski towns in the world. Park City is one of my absolute favorite places on planet Earth, and I know you're going to love it too if you come out and hang out with us. We brought in some great guest speakers, myself, Dan, and Adam, and our BOS team, our good friend Tony Smith from the Garage Gym in Canada, our Jenny Rierick, who's fit to speak, is going to be doing a whole talk on how to improve your speaking ability within your gym and how to get your coaches speaking your language better. We brought in our good friend and keynote speaker, Bobby Maximus, general manager at Jim Jones, author of the Bobby Maximus Method and the Maximus Body book, and one of the most fit and influential people in the industry that I know. Rob is literally the most savagely fit human being I'd ever met. A jiu-jitsu black belt. The dude's just a freakish athlete, and he's created an incredible brand. Along with our other good friends, Peter and Emily Vodden, who own Farrow's Athletic Club. They built one of the coolest hospitality gym brands that I've ever seen. This is the Concierge Club. They have 4 clubs, but they have 2 flagship shops, one in LA and one in Palm Springs. And check them out, Farrow's Athletic Club. Like, your mind is blown how beautiful these facilities are. And so that combined, a couple nights out, networking, bar crawl social, a hike the day before, it's going to be a great trip. And, of course, here with my boy Zach, we got Underground Strength Con 2027
coming up.
March 5th and 6th. That's a Saturday and a Sunday, right after the holidays. So if you want to kick off your year with our biggest and most attended event, Underground Strength Con, that's going to be coming up. We're going to put those links in the bio here, in the stories, and in the show notes for all of you, so you could check that out. But that's going down. We have not even released the speaker lineup for Underground Strength Con yet. We do not know exactly what we're going to be running there, but we're going to have some tricks up our sleeves as always. We're going to have our Strength Carnival. We're going to have great guest speakers, and we're going to have the best food at any strength conference ever known to man. That's our goal. If we do anything right, the food at Underground Strength Con is legendary. So this is the Business of Strength. I hope you liked it. Thanks for coming, my man Z.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.